Welcome to another episode of Cup of Joe. I'm very excited today to have Kevin Wilhelm, the CEO of Pod Marketing, join me to discuss some culture topics. We are very lucky to be in front of Think Tank 2025's live studio audience. Special shout out to our friends at Active Demand, Welcome Home, and HQ by Carework for helping sponsor this event. This is a very special event for us. It allows us to bring all of our clients into one place in the beautiful Kananaskis where the G7 Summit was. And it's been a fantastic week. So today we do have Kevin Wilhelm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, so Kev, we're just gonna jump right in. So a little bit of background on Kevin and I's relationship. We've known each other for about 15 years. I've worked for Kevin for the last 7 years. He has created an amazing company with an amazing culture. And it's one of the reasons that I stay after all these years. So Kevin, what does company culture mean to you personally?
Well, I think culture really is a culmination of how we act, how we believe, or the beliefs that we share, the values that we share, how we show up to work every day. I think a little bit of a background is one of the reasons I created the company in general was I was always the culture guy at companies. It was interesting. I worked for companies where the culture was not the priority, and yet I still try to make it a priority. So when I had an opportunity to start my own company, I said out loud, I want to create the company and the culture that I want to work at, but more importantly, I want to create a company that I would be proud that my wife would work at. And so that has been always at the forefront of every decision we make is, would I be proud to have my wife work here or my daughter work here? And so that's really what the beginning of company culture was. And then it's really evolved from there with where we are today.
That's amazing. Was there a specific time when you felt that your company culture was a competitive advantage in any way?
I think it's been a competitive advantage from the beginning. I even just think of when we were in a true startup mode, not sure if we were going to have enough money to make payroll, but still going out and attracting top talent. And I believe that culture played a huge component early on in attracting and retaining really good people because they wanted to be part of something bigger. They wanted to be treated a certain way. I even look at you. I don't know how many people know this, but you took a big step back from a pay perspective to come and join us. And I mean, to me, that is something that I look and say, that was a competitive advantage that we had built something that someone like you, and it's not just you, it's many people that work for us in this room even, were willing to take less to be part of something and invest in their career, invest in their future, and be part of something bigger. So I think it's always been a big competitive advantage for us.
Amazing. So is it fair to say that I'm your favorite employee?
By a mile.
Okay. Just wanted
It's
to
very fair.
get that on the record.
Yeah.
As CEO, how do you intentionally model the culture that you want the team to embody?
I think the big word I'm going to use is authenticity. I think that what you get with me right now and what you will get yesterday and tomorrow is the exact same regardless. I try to make sure that I am even keel. I try to be silly. I try to have some fun. But I kind of bring that every day. But I really do pride myself on, I try not to have different versions of me with different people or in different situations so that people can really understand and trust the person they're getting. So if I can model authenticity, if I can be genuine, if I can act in a very predictable way all the time, I think that permeates down and allows people to be themselves.
Right.
That they don't have to put up kind of a mask or act differently because they know that they're getting the real me.
Yeah, absolutely. When I joined the company 7 years ago, I think there was probably like 25 of us, maybe 30 of us. What are we at now? 130 something?
148.
148 people across the 3 divisions. So for those of you who don't know, Pod Marketing is our parent company. Citizen is the senior living specific division. And then we have a optometry division and a dental division. I was about to call a Smile Shop division. It's called Smile Shop. As we've scaled, as we've grown, what has been, I guess, the intentionality behind keeping that culture the way that it is?
Well, I mean, the intentionality is that we want to be the same company values. That is our guiding principle. They've been the same core values since the day we started. One thing I will say that I am very proud of is when we crossed the 100-person mark and we still had the same culture we did at 25. Now, things change and evolve, and I think we've put in so many more systems to allow for scalability, but at the core, we are the same company. And I think how we've been able to do that is by hiring the right people and empowering them to, and teaching them on how to hire next.
Right.
And so I used to sit in on every interview. I used to personally select everyone that worked here. I no longer do that, but we have great managers with great systems, but because they are core value aligned, they make sure that they're now protecting culture by who they're bringing in and who they're training and the people they're choosing. And so we're able to have a great culture because we have such buy-in at every level, and we've been able to have that, again, permeate.
That's amazing. I love the conversation around hiring. As you've grown, or rather we've grown, I should say, how did you make sure that somebody was the right culture fit, but not make the organization an echo chamber or stifle creative thought or anything like that?
Well,
what do you look for? I guess.
So number one is I believe that when we hit an interview, I think people can do the job. So based on a resume, based on experience, we believe at that point they can do the job. Now it comes down to, are they the right person for the job? And we really use the analogy or the saying, the right people on the right seats on the bus. So first, we hire for the right person. And so interview questions should be core value based. It should be situational. It should be really understanding, do they fit? And one comment I'm going to make about core values, we have in our company, we change all the time. You have to in digital marketing. You have to be flexible. You have to be dynamic. You have to be willing to just adapt all the time. Well, we have to hire adaptable people.
Right.
And so one of the things that I will say in an interview, or what I'll say in our onboarding weeks, is if you are somebody who just hates change, you will not be a good fit in this organization.
Or any marketing organization, for the record.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Right.
You could be a great person. It just means that there are other roles and other companies that are a better fit because, anyone who's been here longer than 6 months knows that we are willing to make change.
Yeah.
We're willing to take big swings. We're willing to always re-examine how we do things. And so if you are somebody who is scared of change, this is not the right fit. And so we try to make sure that they know that so early on when they're deciding to work with us, so that they have the right choice and they're going with their eyes wide open. But that's an example of core value alignment, is just understanding that everybody that works in this organization has to be flexible and adaptable and willing to change, which is not always easy to find.
Right. Throughout my career with Pod or Citizen, I've basically been sales the whole time. So I'm clearly the right person in the right seat right from the get. But with that said, there's been many situations where we've seen somebody needing to change. Jason Wellman used to be the vice president of sales, then became vice president of operations, and now is the president of Citizen. You take a look at Shamaila Halani, who started off working in the optometry side, working with partnerships, finding out that she was really good as an enterprise account coordinator, now promoted to account manager. There's lots of opportunities for people within the organization, and finding those right people is definitely very, very important. So how do you maintain that culture in a hybrid remote environment? Like, there are certain people, as an example, Jonathan Hurst, who lives in Kansas City. How do we handle that?
It was tricky early on. So we were fully in office. You could work from home, but nobody really did. Obviously, the pandemic, everybody's at home. We had to shift. And we did a lot of the hybrid type things, right? The online team builders and things. Now that we are a truly hybrid company where we are 2 days in the office, 3 days from anywhere. Some people like Jonathan obviously work in a different country. For us, it really comes down to being intentional with creating a great experience at all levels. So somebody like Jonathan, when he's in a team meeting, and I'll have him correct me if I'm wrong here because it's his experience, but we make sure that we don't just have like one screen up and dialing Jonathan, and everybody has a laptop so that he has an opportunity to see everybody's face, and he can feel like he's part of that meeting, and that whoever's facilitating that meeting isn't just forgetting about Jonathan and is stopping and asking for his opinion and making sure that he's heard, and that when a certain conversation, maybe it's you and we realize Jonathan needs to be in that conversation, that we say we need to stop and dial him in.
Yeah.
And we need to find out where he is and intentionally bring him in. But it can be difficult because sometimes you get off in a really good conversation and you kind of forget. And so you do have to be intentional. You have to make sure that you have time, that when he comes to town, when he's here, that we are making time, that we're sitting, breaking bread together, working out together. That's the one thing that Jonathan will always do.
Yeah, we work out a lot, Jonathan and I.
Yeah. Joe, always. I don't know if you know where the gym is, Joe.
I have zero idea where the gym is. Yeah,
It's
zero
past
idea.
the bar. You got to go past the bar.
I've never
That's
passed
the
the
problem.
bar.
You got to go past the bar.
I'm very distracted now. As soon as he said bar, I'm like, where's the bar again? Okay, during the pandemic, one of the things that I thought was really, really strong, and I'm not sure actually who initiated it, but we broke into, everybody was of course virtual. We would break out into these meeting rooms virtually, and it was completely randomized, and we called it isolationships. And isolationships was about getting to know people that you normally wouldn't get a chance to meet. Similar to our environment now, where you're all, from wildly different areas of the United States and so forth and so on, and now you have an opportunity to sit at the same tables and break bread and do different things like that. The way that we've, what's it called? Assigned your seatings, yeah, things like that. With those isolationships that we were able to do, I think there was a lot of value that was created in an environment that we completely had to be hybrid. So that's something that I think needs to be noted, just understanding that when you have an environment like that, and many of you do have communities that have executive directors and so forth and so on that are going to be obviously large distances between them.
Well, I have a little small comment on this is because one thing we do at the beginning of every meeting, every team meeting that we have, is we do what we call a segue. And it's a personal question that everybody has an opportunity to go around and ask. And it's an opportunity to get to know each other as people. Right. And we've been doing it for years, and rarely do we ever find the same question. And so if you sat with me at dinner last night, it's very similar. We engaged in those kind of conversations. And the reason we do that is inevitably when conflict arises, and that should happen at work. Conflict should happen. It is a healthy thing that we encourage. But when conflict inevitably arises, we want you to look at each other as real people and not sales and operations or marketing and sales and saying, well, you just care about this because that's your world. We want to look and say, you're Joe, you have children, you have family, you go camping, you said you spend more nights in your camper than you did in your house this summer. And when I get to know you as a person, it allows me to lean in with good intention and positive intention in moments of conflict.
Right.
And that has really helped build a great, I'm going to say culture, because now as we get to know you as people, now I can look past the conflict, which is just work related, and really discuss and treat you like almost like a friend.
Yeah.
And I think that
Almost.
goes a long way.
Awkward.
Almost. But it goes a long way. And I mean, you and I are friends, but even somebody who's just brand new to the organization. And so we do try to get, even in their first week in onboarding, every meeting starts with a segue so that the onboarding group, and the way that we do it is we have everybody that joins us in the organization starts on the same day, and then they are in a cohort together. They onboard through 5 days. We have a great week that's planned for them, but they get to know each other at a personal level, and they also get to then meet their managers and leaders.
Yeah.
And when they come in and there's a segue, they actually get to know someone like you. When you come in, you are also engaging and talking about personal things early, so that they know that, okay, we're real people here. And so we look past all that.
One thing that's been really, really exciting for me over the last couple of years has been hiring alongside people like Miriam, Steph, Brian, so forth and so on. Miriam and Steph are specifically on the operations side. And where's Maggie? Maggie, there you are. Maggie just joined our organization a couple of months ago. And I think Maggie, probably going through the interview process, was like, why are these guys asking me so many operations questions for a sales role? But the reality is that we need to know how they are going to work alongside the operations team, because the reality is that they can be a top performer in sales, but if they don't fit the culture, they're not going to make it. Anyways, with that being said, do you have any experience with top performers that you've had to maybe evolve into the culture in any capacity in order to make it work?
Well, when it comes to top performers, to me, it's not just in the job. It means, to me, to be a top performer, you have to contribute equally to culture as you are to your job.
Right.
Because we are in the people business, and how you deal with clients and how you deal with our team members, that is the job.
Right.
And so I do have a comment about top performers. I was saying this to somebody earlier, but I really believe about ensuring that the organization maintains a level or gets rid of a level of complacency that allows top performers to thrive. I think that top performers, A players hate B players, B players hate A players. And if you allow a lot of B players complacency, that is actually what erodes trust with the A players.
Of course.
And so for us, it's really about creating a culture that rewards people that show up every day, do their job great, and treat other people great. To me, that's an A player, and we make sure that they're the ones that are supported fully.
Amazing. I'm going to turn this to the audience here. Now, again, if you have questions that you'd like specific to Kevin or to myself, I will reiterate the question to Kevin for the audience that's not with us personally. Any questions? Sean, how have you maintained the culture through your acquisitions?
Great question, Sean. That is very difficult because what we are doing, we're adopting somebody else's culture, their core values. So I'll just be totally real. Not everybody makes it. In fact, very few people make it through. And the reason being is that either they're not a great culture fit for us, or they have so many walls put up that they're unable to trust the process and kind of allow themselves to come in. What we end up doing is in those first 30 to 90 days, really just observing, watching, and we see how they show up. Are they showing up with a fear mindset? Are they showing up understanding, asking questions, wanting to contribute? And normally what ends up happening is they self-select out if they feel it's not the right fit. And in some cases, we make decisions if we feel it's not the right fit. But most of the time, it's a self-selection. But we have brought in some incredible people, retained incredible people through acquisitions. But I would say part of that is not, we still have to have a standard on who we are, and that has to be at the core, and not just allow all these different cultures. But I mean, when you bring in a different company, sometimes you want to respect and understand what makes them great, and if we're going to be absorbing them or letting them exist as its own entity, that also matters. But we are very clear in communicating our core values, how we operate, but yeah, it can be difficult. And I think it is a true partnership and collaboration with those people. And we say to them, like, you didn't choose this. This is happening to you. And so we also give them all opportunities to exit and be taken care of so that they're not surprised. We give everybody an opportunity and say, at the end of 90 days, if you're not happy, here's what a severance package could look like, or working notice. We'll work with you to make sure that you find the job that you want. So we work with them always, but it has to be a partnership, and we have to find alignment.
While keeping good people.
Absolutely. And I think, for those of you who work with Trevor, he's a perfect example of this. We acquired an organization a couple of years ago and ended up bringing on Trevor. And Trevor is just such a fantastic culture fit and a great employee. And so shout out to him. For those of you guys who work with him, you can let him know how nice I am. But yeah, he's absolutely amazing culture fit. And we've gotten a lot of really, really strong talent from acquisitions, including Ashley Jokinen, whom some of you may also know, who's on our Citizen team. Any other questions for Kevin? Is there a specific process to understanding if they're a core value fit?
Well, similar to a new employee that comes in, so for us, they would be new to us. There's a difference because there has to be a different level of respect when you do an acquisition because they come with tenure, experience. And so we don't want to, but it's very similar to a new employee. So we see, for us, teamwork is one of our big core values. Are they openly sharing? Are they showing up for their team? Are they, again, leaning in with good intention? Or are they saying something to their face, but then complaining to someone else behind their back? You can see very quickly how that culture has permeated within them. And sometimes cultures are a great match and it's very easy. And sometimes there's opportunity and there needs to be a complete cultural revamp. And so you just want to see how they naturally show up. And so what we do is we do a core value presentation. We explain it. We show examples of each core value. And then we observe and we watch. And I think just in anything, you understand if a teammate's not working, If there's an issue with somebody on your team, the first question is it a core value issue? So we go through all 4 core values. Are they constantly demonstrating this, or are they sometimes, or are they never demonstrating those core values? And then we look at what we use is get it, want it, and capacity to do the job. That's another evaluation that we have to do. So I'll use Joe, he's sitting here. We would say if there's an issue with Joe, we'll say, okay, well, does Joe get the job? Does he understand what is required in his role? Second is, does he want it? And that's a big one when we talk about acquiring a company. Do they even want to be here? Or are they feeling almost like there is like a victim where there's something happened to them and I don't want to be here, they feel trapped. So do they want it? And the third one is capacity. Does Joe actually have the skill set to be able to do the job effectively? And so whenever there's an issue at all, at any level, whether it's acquired employee or new, or even somebody who's been with us 5 years, but we're experiencing problems for the first time, we have to use that matrix. So core value, or is it a get it, want it capacity to do it? And so if they're fully core value aligned, but there's an issue with the job, we talk about right people, right seats. Now it's our responsibility to see, is there another seat in the organization because we have the right person on the bus? But now we have to look and see, is there a better seat for them? If they're not core value aligned, then they should not be on that bus. And our job is to make sure that they find a different bus to be on, and they'll be happier in a different organization, and our people will be happier having that person come off the bus. But I think as leaders and really maintaining culture, we have to hold ourselves accountable to, once you identify that that person should not be on the bus, our job is to make sure that we respectfully and compassionately, but exit them from that.
Amazing. No other questions? Kevin, thank you so much for joining Cup of Joe. It's been absolutely amazing having you. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Well, they can reach out on email, kevin.wilhelm@podmarketinginc.com, or LinkedIn. That's a great place to go. Or they can just call you and you'll just dial me in.
403-903-3703, or email me at joe@citizen55.com. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody.